Okay, today we're going to go over the process on, I guess you'd call it scaling fuel injectors on my Hellcat, or basically just changing the numbers to meet a new set of injectors. What I've done is I put a set of Demon injectors in my Hellcat. You know, when I made the normal assumption you would with GM that I could take the data from the other vehicle that the injectors came out of, put it in my car, and things would work properly. That's a big no. It does not work like that. You cannot just put the Demon data in and have it work, or even actually come remotely close. So with that being said, I kind of had to develop my own process to figure out what they needed to be at, and in order to tune it so that the injectors would be accurate and then it wouldn't be a hack job. So that's what I'm going to do is explain how you can do that yourself. The first step of doing your fuel injectors is you're going to want to have a quality histogram set up to basically log your fuel error based on your fuel table. So we're going to go to graph layout. Go down here to this one right here. You will see I have long-term fuel trim bank 1 sensor. That's a sensor you're going to want to pick. Function, I also picked long-term fuel trims, bank 1. Down here you have parameter is fuel mass cylinder 1. Unit is grams, and then the values. Now in order to get these values, you do it like you would on any other vehicle. You find the table you want to pull the values from, which in this case is injector pulse width versus fuel mass. You right click here and column axis, copy labels. You can close that out. You go over here and you basically paste the information in there, and that's going to give you a good quality histogram right here, which is identical to the table in your tune, and it's going to log your fuel error there. I personally like to log the long-term fuel trim on the Hellcat because you can't turn it off. So eventually your short-term fuel trims, the more you drive, are going to get closer and closer to zero as your long-terms go up because the car is adapting. So I like to drive around and use the long-term fuel trim for this. Now, before you log, you're going to want to have the car in run, not have the car on. You're going to hit record, start scanning, whatever. You're going to press this button for vehicle controls and special functions. And under special functions, you have to click reset adaptives. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times before it goes through. Once you reset adaptives, all your fuel trims start fresh at 0, and as soon as you start the car up, you can basically start logging, and it's all quality information from there. Now this is just a quick drive down the road and whatnot, just to see where I was at. So basically what you're going to do here at this point, you're going to want to have as many of these full as possible. You basically select the whole table, you copy the table over, you go over to here, you grab the injector pulse width versus fuel mass table, and this is the way that I like to do it. I like to right click, click space, paste special, multiply percentage half. Not by full, because sometimes it overdoes it. And then you can grab the entire table, the area that was done, and you can basically smooth it out. So we're gonna undo all that because I don't need to change any of that right now. Now, let's say you start your car up, you put new injectors in, you put Demon injectors in. They're obviously not running the same amount of fuel as the Hellcat is. They're 600 cc's, the Hellcat's 500. So your 2 tables here, or your 2 columns here for short-term fuel trims 1 and 2 are gonna be crazy. Now they're gonna be one direction or the other. So if they're in one direction up, and let's say they say 20%, your number over here is going to have just a 20 in it, and the whole table is going to be full of numbers close to 20. So it's safe to say that you can go back to your table, and I like to do 0.5% as well. You go back to your table here, select the whole thing, you know, go 1.1, multiply it, it raises the entire table by 10%. And you can try it from there. You're gonna wanna get down to 5 or 6% by doing this first before you try to log and make it more perfect. Now, one of the things that you're gonna need to know is that these two tables have to match each other. Now, it's kind of a pain in the ass of guesswork in order to do that properly. So what I did here is I made a spreadsheet. Now, I took the spreadsheet and I basically copied all the information from my injector pulse width versus fuel mass table over. You can see 0.0003, 0.232. So it obviously rounded this one, but I highlighted each one where I put it. So every 2 spaces, I skipped 2 spaces, and then I put the information in all the way down until I filled up the whole table. Then what I did was I took this number, let's say in row 5, row 5, and I subtracted the number from row 2, found out the difference, divided by 3, added it to this number to get this number, added it to this number to get this number, and I so on and so forth. And I went through and I did that all the way down. Then I did the same thing on this side. Took the 2 numbers, divided them, subtracted them from each other, divided by 3, kept adding that, and I did that in each section. This basically gave me a higher or a better cross-reference of what number equals which number. At that point, I could open up the other table, the fuel mass versus injector pulse width, and I could actually type in information close to or based on this table here. I would say if you want to be more accurate, I would add in 2 more of these, 3 more if you wanted to. You can break it down to be even more accurate, so that way your tables do actually match each other appropriately. My injector offset, in this case, I actually used the Demon injector offset table. I lowered my injector pulse width minimum to the Demon as well, and these other ones that are green are also files from the Demon. The only thing that is my own tuning is the injector pulse width versus fuel mass, and fuel mass versus injector pulse width. This may not be the way that everyone else does it. It may not even be perfect, but it'll get you very, 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 very close, and it'll help you out a lot in understanding what to do for the fuel, how to set it up properly, and make sure that your car is running way better than if you just had to figure out some way to hack it to make it close. So that's about it. Stay tuned for more videos. Make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to post videos every week on tuning Hellcat and Dodge related vehicles in order to make it easier for everyone to understand. Thank you.